Hello, and welcome to Work Well with Stephanie Wolfe, brought to you by the Whole Food Health Coach, LLC, where we make your goals our goals, and you're never alone on your wellness journey. Experience the information, inspiration, and collaboration of our Coach in Your Corner partnership. My name is Stephanie Wolfe, and I am a national board-certified health and wellness coach and the proud owner of the Whole Food Health Coach, now in its 9th year, and 4-time winner of the Best of Gwinnett Award. Together with certified health coaches Rachel Souza and Sherry Davis, we invite you to visit WholeFoodHealthCoach.com to set up your 60-minute healthy living assessment. Our award-winning 3-phase program is changing lives. Work Well is brought to you weekly and is dedicated to your personal and professional health and wellness. I offer examples from my own life, health, marriage, family, and business. I share my research, my opinion, my faith, and I really hope I'm bringing you some compelling content, engaging challenges that are practical, that you can put into use every day for your body, soul, and spirit support in your wellness journey. Work Well comes to you from my personal desire to live long and strong with passion and purpose, and die of old age, help others to do the same. So now, from living rooms to boardrooms via Business RadioX, you're listening to Work Well with Stephanie Wolfe. Our funny story for today, Tina, is 2 nights. A doctor, a nurse, and a top executive of an HMO had died, and all were in line together at the pearly gates. St. Peter speaks to them and asks them what good they have done in their lives. The doctor says, "I devoted my life to the sick and needy and have had a part in caring for and healing thousands of people." St. Peter replies, "That's great. Go into heaven." "And what about you?" The nurse states, "I supported the doctor and his patients my entire life as an adult, have even taken time to explain things to patients, and have helped them lead healthy lives." "Wonderful. Please proceed in with the doctor." "And what about you?" the HMO executive said. "I was the president of a very large health maintenance organization. I was responsible for the health care of millions of people all over the country." St. Peter says, "Oh, I see. Please go in, but you can only stay 2 nights. I know, that's kind of edgy, but today I have a special guest in our on our podcast. Tina is with me, and I'm excited because, if you've been listening to our podcast, that each week the theme is information and inspiration, and it's all from my CLEAN Concepts individual coaching program. The CLEAN acronym, of course, represents character, how you care for yourself, lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition. So I encourage people to challenge themselves and change something, improve something, let go of something, pick up something, start something, restart something, or at least start a healthy self-dialogue, all to fuel the excitement and generate movement towards a healthier self. And Tina, I'd love for you to talk to our audience today. How do we know each other, and why are you here? What's of interest to you? And please just introduce yourself to our friends today.
Well, thank you for having me, Stephanie. It's a pleasure to be here with you. You have certainly impacted my life in more ways than I can say, so thank you for that. But Stephanie and I met in 2018, I believe it was, at a mutual gathering that our husbands were at, and she gave us her business card, and I've kept it in my wallet since then. And this last year, I just kept feeling prompted in my heart that I need to reach out. I was having some health issues and weight concerns, and so I did. I just took the card out and called her, and here we are today. So it's been quite a journey, and I'm so grateful and thankful. It started with a I Shape Me class that Stephanie offers, and I took the class along with a friend of mine, and then decided to go further on this journey, and so here we are. It's been, I think, 6 months now, 5 months.
Something
like that. Yeah, so.
It's been great. Our weekly sessions really are topic driven, and most of the time I am listening to what you're wanting to talk about and seeing what your highs and lows are for the day or for the week, for the time in between us getting together, and that's kind of how it rolls. Phase 1 is a little unique, and one of the things that I love to do is ask, well, why now? Why'd you reach out and why now? You kind of answered that because you said my name kept coming up in your heart, and so you reached out. And certainly having those physical needs is one of those things, and coming to iShape Me is really more of a mental game. It's really how to get your mind engaged, because I always say where your mind goes, your body follows, right? So is that kind of where that springboard was for you?
Yeah, it was. I realized that I have the power to shape me. I can sit around and make excuses, or I can take control of my life, because I'm the only person who controls me, and I can only control me. So I realized just in that session that I had with you that I can make excuses or I can do something about it. And because nobody's going to do it for me. I have to either be happy with where I'm at or do something about it.
I love that. That's great. And then from there, we did a healthy living assessment. And that's usually a little more in depth, because when I do the iShape Me, it's really pretty much something everybody needs. And they find their own strength in the midst of that. It's all about empowering my listeners in that particular class to, whether it's professional goals that they have, to get to them and achieve whatever success they want to achieve. And then when it comes to healthy living assessment, it's really more in depth on body, soul, how you're feeling about life and the things you're dealing with emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, as well as physically, because most people come to me with those physical challenges. So tell us a little bit about, I guess, or tell our audience a little bit about how, and I like to hear it too. Yeah. So tell me how that healthy living assessment felt to you from your side of the table.
Yeah. I mean, I was like everyone else. I came initially wanting to lose weight, but I didn't realize, and I knew there was a mind-body connection. I had that knowledge, but I just hadn't put it into practice the way I needed to. And for me personally, just having someone to hold me accountable, someone that's every week asking me those questions, that makes a huge difference, because life is so busy, you have so many things to do, you just get lost in it all. And so just having that weekly time with you, where you were asking me those questions, and really it caused me to focus on my mental and emotional health as well. And I didn't really expect that, to be honest, but when I started meeting with you and realized, just how you do things, it really encapsulates all three, and that was a huge game changer for me.
Awesome. I love that, because I do think that's something that a lot of people don't understand, because it's not just a number on a scale, or it's not just a diagnosis from a doctor. Those are the physical things that sometimes get our attention.
Right.
But it's a lot of times what led up to that, what got us there in the first place, and how we can adjust and make those changes. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And then I know part of it, why me, is because you already had a background, knowledge a little bit, my card that you kept in your wallet. That's so cute. I put my picture on my card, and I tell when I coach other coaches, I always say putting your picture on your card helps, because then it is a mental picture instead of just words on a page. It's like, oh yeah, I've got to call her. So and then I really want to hear what's working and what's not working for you. So let's start with what's working, and just let me know where there's been the progress that you've made, and not necessarily in the numbers thing, because we don't need to go into that, but where are things now as far as what's working?
So I'll start with my victories. One of my greatest victories in all of this is that I've been able to stop the cycle of emotional eating. So I'm a feeler by nature, so I feel everything, and food was a part of those feelings. I heard a joke one time. It said, you can feel your feelings or you can eat this donut, so I'm going to eat my feelings, instead of feeling them. But it was just being able to stop that cycle has been huge for me. It's a mental victory, it's an emotional victory, as well as a physical victory, because that's helped stop what has gotten me to this place physically that I'm at now, a large part of it. So that was a huge win for me. I have other health issues. I have a histamine intolerance, so that's caused the weight loss journey to be slow and cumbersome, and sometimes, to be honest, discouraging, and you just want to give up. But there again, having you, that weekly call, there's always something encouraging. There's always something good to find in every week. And so being able to have you help me see those things instead of just getting discouraged with what's not working, but to remember, okay, I am eating clean. I am eating healthy. So I do feel better overall, even though the scale may not show what I want to show. Overall, my health, I do feel better. I have more energy. I have less aches and pains, and just all of that comes from just cleaning up my diet and getting the chemicals out of my diet and eating healthy, eating more organic. All of those things bring positive changes to our body. Even if the scale is not moving the way we want to see it, I do see and feel the benefits every day.
It's been moving. It just is moving a lot slower, but
slow.
It's definitely moving. And that's, I pride myself in following all of the parts that go into that, not just the number on the scale, but what makes you you, and tracking the grams of this and the as far as fat, muscle, water, and that overall scale. And you mentioned the histamine intolerance, and I know there's probably, and a lot of people aren't as necessarily aware of what that all entails, but I was pleased to actually dig into what you can eat.
Right.
And that's a part of what I do, is to rewrite recipes and help you find some ways to incorporate some of the things you can eat.
Right.
Because with any kind of intolerance, whether celiac or histamine or digestive issues of any kind, there's things you have to avoid,
right,
that create those, or the trigger type things. Even some of my clients who have migraines, certain triggers and certain food type things. And so for me, it's all about helping to discover where you can find some taste in some of those things and still be able to avoid some of those areas where there's concern and where it causes problems. And so you drove in last night and I cooked a histamine-free meal.
Yes, it's very delicious.
It was actually, and I'm adding it to the rotation for us now. Jack loved it. I loved it. It was great. And it was fun. I was just chopping away thinking this is all healthy, great food.
Yeah.
So I chopped like 4 carrots and 2 sticks of celery and some zucchini, and it was fun to put it all together, and it had great flavor. So with turmeric, and so it was great to do that for you. But I know that that's a challenge for you. You work full time. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I'm a co-owner of Just Better Custom Coffee. So we own a coffee roastery and 2 coffee shops. And I also operate a private Christian school. So I'm very busy, have a lot to do. And so it's easy to get in a rut with my food because I do have a limited diet, a limited number of things that I can eat. So it's easy to get in a rut and just eat the same things over and over again, which will ultimately leads to becoming disheartened and bored. And that's when you kind of reach for things you shouldn't reach for, because you're just bored, honestly, sometimes, just tired of the same things. And so your encouragement to seek out new recipes, the soup last night was delicious, which made me think, I really need to give some time to finding some new recipes, because there are fun things to have, and fun. You want things to be fun. That's a value for me. If it's not fun, I don't really want to do it for a very long time. So looking at new recipes, finding some ways to make your restrictions fun, I think is very helpful.
Focus on what you can eat, not what you can't eat, because everybody, especially a quote unquote diet, it's like, I can't have that. And I teach all of my clients not to say I can't have that. You say I can have that if I want to, but I don't want to.
That's right.
And because you realize the consequences that come from that, which is, that's kind of where you've been living for all this time, is really choosing for yourself. And choosing the hard, right? Like in the
yes.
I can't remember which of the podcasts. I guess I've tried everything. Choose your hard.
Yes.
And you pointed that out as one of those things in that podcast that you really stood out to you, because that's what you've done. You've looked at the alternatives and you've decided, here's the direction I need to go, and I can go that direction, but I have to be careful because I'm going to pay the price for that.
Right.
And it's that way with all of us. That's why body fuel is important for us to understand, that food is fuel. And you can make that soup early on and keep it in the fridge or freeze smaller portions of it. We were talking about this morning. So
Yeah. The choose your heart is something that I play over in my head all the time, because when I'm at the grocery store, and you can, non-organic squash is $1.89 a pound, and organic squash is $3.29 a pound. So I'm sitting there trying to make a decision, and I choose your heart. Okay. So I can pay the extra here, or I can pay it at the doctor's office. So I choose my heart, and I choose to go with the organic versus the other, because I can, and I realize that's not always a possibility, but any amount we move the dial towards health is better than nothing. So, I can't always find organic everything I want to eat, but the things that I can, and the things that I can afford, those are the things that I buy, because I'm just moving the dial little by little, because I realize I'm 50, almost 51. Next week I'll be 51. And it took me 51 years to get my body to where it's at right now. So I realize resetting my systems, redoing all of those things, that's not going to happen overnight. So I do have to be patient. And like we said earlier, mine's moving a little bit slower than I would like. But I know over the long haul, it's going to be worth it. And so just taking the time, choosing my heart, and knowing that it's leading to my preferred future.
And you're doing it the right way. I mean, even your doctor says... What did she tell you about your inflammation?
Oh, yeah. My inflammation numbers have come way down since I started the clean eating program.
Nice. And I know a lot of people ask me, oh, well, do you do a detox? And I'm like, yeah, we just don't eat crap, right?
Right, yeah. Just get the crap out. It's an automatic detox.
That's right. The less processed or carbonated and refined and artificial and processed foods we eat, and the more whole food we eat, the healthier our body's going to get anyway. It's going to do its own form of detoxing versus drinking solutions and paying big bucks for all kinds of, other things that create a problem. And you brought up something that I love to talk about, because making those adjustments, because not everybody can afford completely organic foods or any of those things. I know that some of our listeners are saying that in their heads, and I felt that way too. I'm 22 years clean on the other side of my second bout with cancer, and it was pretty much back then that I decided, I'm worth it. If it costs more, or if it's fresh and you have to throw it away, big deal. Buy some more. I'm that way with my, when I make my avocado toast in the morning, this morning, like I did with us. And basil goes bad pretty quickly unless you're growing it. My tower gardens, I get a chance to grow it, and it's nice and fresh, and it's abundant, and I'm always giving tons of it away. But in the winter, like now, I have to buy it just like anybody else, and I get as much use out of it as I can, and then, and it goes in a smoothie or whatever I end up doing, and then eventually it's going to go in the trash, and I don't care. You know why? Because I'm worth it. I'd move out of my house, or whatever we needed to do to make those adjustments. That's the way Jack and I look at it. It's just that important, because it's the only body I'm going to get. I can get another house or car or whatever. But I teach good, better, best. If I can move my clients from bad to good, I'm happy. Whether that means we're just not eating Fruit Loops and we're eating real fruit, then I'm okay, good. We've gone from bad to good. And then from there, we can progress into some of the other areas. So I love that, because it works for everybody, instead of it being something that only people in certain financial brackets can afford, and I don't want it to be that way for anybody. So, you've mentioned some things that you've been able to, what's been working, and even what's not working. The slower process might be. I don't know if there's anything else you want to share on the not working side that we didn't come up with, but hopefully it.
I think I covered that. The histamine intolerance is probably the biggest hindrance that I have, and if anyone listening, if you have that, if you have random seeming allergic reactions that you cannot explain and strange things, just talk to your doctor about histamine intolerance. It is a thing, and it really is cumbersome, and you'll think you're crazy, but there really is something going on, so you're not crazy.
No, you're not crazy. There's all these health issues, and a lot of the things are kind of a mystery in some ways, and it's going to go back to the fuel. in some way, shape, or form. It's always going to go back to that. And sometimes it's DNA. Sometimes there's genetic I can never say that word, but you know what I'm saying, where you're leaning towards certain things, but we turn on and off that switch with our choices. So there's always something we can do to even at least make it better. I mean, we can't necessarily always cure it with food, but we can definitely make it better. So in the area of clean concepts and those things that I teach on a regular basis, character, how you take care of yourself and the moral qualities of an individual, and it's developed over time, and it's the result of our environment or our experiences. We've been talking about that a little bit. And it's basically built on our core values, those things that we hold dear, our principles and morals. Actions and behavior are driven by and they're fueled by those core values. So that's why one of my first podcasts I taught, everything starts with why. Because why we do this and why we do it now. And so you mentioned a little bit about that, but we place value on everything in life, and I believe that we act more passionately on those things that we place the highest value. Would you agree, or is there other things?
I agree. I had a life-altering experience, before my journey with you began, and that experience brought me to the place to where, like you said earlier, that I had to come to the place where I'm worth it. Mm-hmm. I'm worth it. And so I have to take the time to focus on me. Mm. I can't affect what anyone else in this world does, only me. Yep. And so I'm worth taking the time. I'm worth the effort. I'm worth the money. I'm worth all that it entails.
Yay.
I'm worth it. And I am the only one who will put me first.
There you go.
And so it seems selfish, and we're taught to be self-sacrificing and all those things, especially as women, as moms. We tend to put ourselves last. We put everybody else first. But the best thing we could do for ourselves and for our families mm-hmm. is to be healthy and to put ourselves first and to do the things that are necessary for us to stay healthy. I have 3 daughters, and they watch everything I do. So they're like, Mom, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you for doing that, because I sacrifice for them constantly. And so we're so proud of what you're doing. And they're seeing me take the time for me. So now one of my daughters who doesn't like vegetables at all, she's taking vitamins, and she's trying to improve her diet and doing these things because they see me doing it. Because I've always said to people, your children will become who you are, not what you say.
Yeah.
They'll become who you are by your actions and your behaviors. And so just them seeing you as a female, as their mom, as a leader in your community or a business leader or whatever it may be, people will become what they see you do, not what you say out of your mouth. Okay. And so just taking the time to put your health first, to put your mental health first, those things can change your community more than anything.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. That was a good word for somebody out there that needs to take time to take care of themselves. You're worth it if you're listening today. So I know showing up, sometimes we show up for everybody and every, need, but our own, because we think that's, what we're called to do. And that also because the squeaky wheels, get the grease, as it were. And so showing up for everything but ourselves sometimes is where we end up then later regretting it, because we're dealing with the consequences of maybe putting ourselves not even on the burner, let alone the back burner. So I love that's your core value now, is my self-care, because that really matters, and health and wellness is that area. And then lifestyle, how you live, is important to me, because that's where you're going to spend your money and your time, right? It's those choices. The quality of life is directly connected to the quality of our choices. So we design it one choice at a time, one day at a time. And like I teach, strong, healthy, and smart is I want to make those choices that are going to make me strong, healthy, and smart, not weak, sick, and dumb. And when we say yes to one thing, we're saying no to something else. So we've only got so many hours in a day, and we've only got so much money in our wallet. So when it comes to our time and our money, we need to be more mindful. And that's what that step is all about, is really understanding that what we say we believe we're actually living out, because that's, the hypocritical way. Like you said, your kids are looking at, well, kids, they're grown ladies, but they're looking to you for direction. And so don't do as I do as I say. That never works for anybody.
Works.
So we always said around our house, you can make your mouth say anything, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's your heart. So,
your bank statement tells the tale.
It does, yep. And your what we used to call your daytimer, your calendar. But I think that I remember saying, it's Tina time, every time we'd get together and talk, because you have all these other things, that are crying, for your attention and for your name. And so when we spend that hour together, I have to keep reminding you, as well as all my clients, this is you time. This is when, this is set aside for you. Take everything else off your desk. Just, I'm here for you. I focused on you. It was funny when you came in last night and we hugged, and I'm like, I see more than your face, because I'm face to face. That's one thing when we're on Zoom, right? But we were actually face to face and chair to chair.
That's
and
right.
So having that time together was super fun. So I know you set aside time and you set aside money to do what you feel you're learning and you're applying to your own life. So we're seeing some benefits, obviously.
I keep a Post-it note at your instruction. I keep a Post-it note on my laptop. Say yes to Tina today.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So the next one is exercise, how you move. And I've told you, you don't have to join a gym or buy expensive equipment or take a sweaty group class. But we do need to move constantly, daily, and faithfully. So you've heard me say movement is medicine for our body and our brains, and it just feels good when we do it. We're created to move, and our bodies don't do well when we sit. So our brains need the endorphins and that release of feel-good hormones, which I love to teach, and I'll be teaching that in February a little bit as we launch into heart health. And engaging in that physical fitness, the goal is eventually 30 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise 5 days a week at least. And we can see the difference even in the sit, walk, stand principle that I teach. Sit up straight, engage your core, walk like you own the place, stand tall. Posture is super important to use all of your muscles. And then, it's just the mindfulness of it. Get up off the couch, just move. And I know you've had some little tricks and some things that you've done for yourself. I know that with your histamine intolerance, we're cautious about what we do, how much we do, and just watching over to make sure you're doing what you can do, not what you can't do. Right. And so that good, better, best is coming into play there. So do you want to say anything about that?
Well, I started, Stephanie sent me a 10-minute yoga stretches for the morning, and so I would engage, that's how I would engage my muscles for the day, is just with the 10-minute stretches, and I was really shocked at how much that helped, just the stretching and that engagement. And then I try to set myself a goal that every time I go to the bathroom, I do 10 squats. Every time I go to the bathroom. Because if you're drinking your water allotment for the day, you're going to go to the bathroom a lot. So you'll get about 40 to 50 squats in a day if you remember every time. Now, I don't remember every time I go to the bathroom. If I'm in a hurry, sometimes I'll run in and run out and forget. But I have it in my mind that when I go to the bathroom, I'm going to do 10 squats. And so that helps. That's one of the little fun things I did. And then I try to have some walking time with friends and things like that make it fun. Good.
I do something called walk and talk with my clients that they have to at least have finished phase 1 before I'll do it for the special price. But so that we've actually got stuff to talk about that's based on the program and everything. But and I always say piggybacking things together is a good way to establish a new habit. Mm-hmm. Now you probably can't go to the bathroom without thinking about the squats. You're going to squat anyway. I'm just saying. That's just the way it is. You might as well add 9.
That's right. That's right.
So, all right. So the next one is attitude and how you think. And I know that we talked a little bit about emotional and mental and some of those things, and where your mind goes, your body follows, and some of those things. So happy, positive, thankful, grateful attitude can lay a really great foundation for success in life in any area, no matter what it is. So no matter what happens, your attitude about it will help you to believe and achieve and dream and create hope and certainly smile. And I think that how we think actually fuels not just that thought, but it opens up other doors for us. I know I always say a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go far until you change it.
Right.
So it's all about that physical, but mental and emotional wellness as well. So choosing good input for your brain. So how's that working for you, and what have you done?
Well, I think the scripture that talks about how a merry heart does good like medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bone. I have experienced that over the last few months in a very real way, with some personal things happening in my life. And so I had to look at that and say, okay, Lord, I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to take a positive outlook, and it changes everything. So you can be sad and depressed, and I've had plenty of reasons to stay in that place. If I wanted to have a reason, I had a reason. But I've decided to get up, to put on my clothes, to go out into the sunshine, to just have a positive outlook and just be focused on hope instead of hopelessness, and to just surround myself with positive people, because the people that we surround ourselves with can make or break us. Yes, and so I try to always make sure I'm surrounded by positive people who are on the same page with me, who know my goals, and who will encourage me to get there. Good. And just eliminate negative people.
Good.
Altogether.
And you listen to Work Well with Stephanie Wolfe podcast, so you've got that constant
That's
fuel.
right.
You've got Stephanie in your ear all the time.
Constantly.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that.
I hear your voice at the grocery store more than you know.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I had a client that one time said that they had wanted to do a fake bracelet or something that said WWSD, what would Stephanie do? And I'm like, oh no, don't do that. That's almost sacrilege. All right. So the last one, and the one that we've actually spent most of our phase 1 on, is nutrition, how you eat. So that body fuel, we've talked about it quite a bit already today, but you are what you eat. And you are what you eat eats. A lot of people have trouble figuring that out, why I say that. But foods that are grown on real farms with real farmers, colorful produce, it's good, healthy fuel for our body and our brain. Chemicals and the colors and preservatives and all those kind of things are great for the manufacturer's bottom line, but our bodies just can't handle the kind of toxic load. So the more of the boxes and bags and cans and jars that we eat from, we have to be able to read labels and know what's in our food, and not just focus on what's cheap or easy, because that fake food really is causing a lot of our problems. So if we can focus on what we can eat, remember, not what we can't eat. And I call my program the Not a Diet, because I don't want you to avoid real food. Food is great, and it tastes great, and there's lots of recipes even on my website if you go to wholefoodhealthcoach.com. And I believe in those immune boosting, metabolism correcting, energy enhancing, health promoting, real, colorful, grown, not manufactured whole foods. And one of the things that I teach is creating a wellness vision. I've actually done that as one of the podcast topics, so if you want to look back on that. And I know that you have one. Are you?
I do.
Would you like to share it with
Sure.
us? I loved yours, and so I would love to hear that. And I think it will give our audience a little understanding of what it's like.
I have it written down, so I'll say it correctly. I am in control of me. My mind and my body work together to build a healthier, energetic, joy-filled me. There is no space for negative energy in my mind or body. I am Holy Spirit empowered to live freely and lightly. I pray daily, exercise 5 times a week, and eat a clean, whole foods diet so I am able to live life to its fullest. I am me.
I love that. Thank you for that. I know answering those questions is sometimes tedious, and then coming up with that, what I call the power statement, and then make sure that you put it where you can see it, like the other little Post-it notes, but maybe something a little prettier so that you can have it handy. So I think that's definitely great for our listeners to hear. And I love Dwight D. Eisenhower said, what counts is not necessarily the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. And I think that that's where that mental strength really drives the train on all these other choices that we've been talking about. And a lot of things come our way to try to derail us and depress us and discourage us from the goals that we want. And sometimes having somebody there, whether it's accountability or just friendship, I always say the partnership. Most of my clients become my friends, over time, just because we're spending a lot of time together, and I'm helping carry part of the load. And when I love doing that, because I think that's what keeps my clients successful, and their success means I can stay in business, which I do appreciate. So thanks for sending the word out and letting people know what we do. But let's look at the next 3 months. We're going to be working together, going through body systems in phase 2 and phase 3, which is more the maintenance side of things. So you can keep doing what you're doing. Once I give you the tools, you don't need me so much anymore, but you can reach out to me whenever you need me. But is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience today?
I would say if you're listening to this and you're struggling and you're considering, gosh, boy, should I do that or should I not do that? One of the things I've discovered in my life is that people need a champion. You need somebody to champion you, to cheer you on, to root for you, to say good job. I remember specifically one week that I just had a bad week. It was an emotional week, and so things didn't go as I had planned all week. And I remember just dreading my call with Stephanie, because I was waiting for we probably should do this different next time or whatever. And she's like, what great happened this week? And totally focused, totally turned it around. Didn't even comment on the fact that nothing changed that week number wise, just encouraged me and just, and I'm like, wow. Okay, I didn't have to dread it after all. But just the way you approach that, Stephanie, I never have even told you that, but the way you approach that just meant a lot, because I was already emotionally fragile, and, just did not need to be reprimanded for not doing my part that week, and you just loved on me. And so I just encourage you, if you are listening to this and you're considering getting a health coach, I mean, I cannot recommend Stephanie enough, not just because she's my friend, because she does a phenomenal job. And that's what I look forward to. I do want to lose weight. I do want to grow stronger and feel healthier and feel better. And, just continue to prioritize myself. And having a friend who encourages me to do that, I think, is worth all the money in the world.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for that compliment, because that means the world to me. That's why I do what I do, and I love doing what I do, and I love the people I get to do it with. So thank you for that. So in closing today, and that really fits well with my final statement, because this is a quote that I have written for my coaches that I train, and I say, be good at what you do, and you will not need to go looking for clients. Clients will come looking for you. And I appreciate that, because I have just as much fun doing this as anybody else does. So you've been listening to Work Well with Stephanie Wolfe, brought to you by the Whole Food Health Coach, LLC, where we make your goals our goals, and you're never alone on your wellness journey. Tina shared that so beautifully with you. So if you're new to this program, I invite you to listen and possibly subscribe to our channel. You can listen to it on wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can also just ask Alexa to play Work Well with Stephanie Wolfe. So permission to do that. And then the information about all of our upcoming virtual events and our individual coaching programs can be found on wholefoodhealthcoach.com. Our coaching is available virtually anywhere in the country. I'm Stephanie Wolfe, wishing you well personally and professionally. See you next week, live or on your favorite podcast channel. Until then, choose life.